With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Welcome into 49ers Access. My name is Sterling Bennett, and today we're going to recap day number 4 of San Francisco 49ers training camp. Going to dive into Brock Purdy's return, Ricky Pearsall's debut, and provide some major injury updates for you in today's show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, give us that 5-star audio podcast review, and let's dive into day number 4, the last day before pads come on Monday. And I'll tell you this, it was, although not a rather loaded practice, there wasn't a lot of big things transpiring. There was a lot of things that happened today we have to get into because Brock Purdy returned today. Ricky Pearsall also made his training camp debut. Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, and Nick Bosa all got scheduled days off. So it doesn't really seem like they want to overload either 3 of those players early on through training camp. So all 3 of those guys got days off. It feels like they're trying to lighten their workloads early on to have them fresh for week 1. We all saw last year when Christian McCaffrey kind of got hurt out of nowhere. Don't want to have that happen again. So the veteran guys getting early days off in the early portions of training camp. We also got confirmation that cornerback Renardo Green, who got hurt on Friday's practice, may have thought it was going to be minor. Turns out it's a pretty major one. He has a pretty serious hamstring strain, if that's what they want to call it. He'll be out for the next 2 to 3 weeks with his trying to return more so closer to August 14th during the joint practices with the Las Vegas Raiders. San Francisco plays Las Vegas on the 16th of August, I think in week 2 of the preseason. So you're not going to have your number 2 cornerback for the next 2 or 3 weeks if you are the San Francisco 49ers. The next injury update is that of Jacob Cowing, who also hurt his hamstring a couple of days ago. He's going to miss the next 2 to 3 weeks as well, on top of Green, who are both targeting a return on August 14th for joint practices with the Las Vegas Raiders. The other kind of non-minor injury update, but one that I think is one to watch and one I may be really concerned about going forward, is that of Jauan Jennings. Now, we all know Jennings wants to get paid, came to training camp, and is doing the right thing with the team and kind of saying, hey, look, I'm here, pay me. But now Jauan, for the second straight time, the first one being in OTAs, now we're in training camp, he has yet to finish a practice, or failed to finish a practice, I should say, because of a calf injury. Now, this could be minor, it could be a simple strain, could be simple overworking it, who knows, but as Niner fans have seen in previous years, mainly Dre Greenlaw being one of them, well, calf injuries can turn into something more serious down the road. So I am really concerned about Jauan Jennings' calf. Again, I hope it's minor, but when you can't finish a practice for the second time during the OTA training camp sessions, that is worrisome. You hope it's not too big because, again, calf injuries like Tyrese Halliburton against OKC in the NBA Finals, it can lead to a more season career-threatening injury, that being a torn Achilles. So Fingers crossed that's not the case, and fingers crossed they can settle things down. And also for San Francisco, who may want to pay Jauan Jennings, I think this is something to monitor going forward. Now, I am very pro paying Jauan Jennings. I think he's a great player, but now you get into, injury conversations, physical conversations. Jauan plays a physical brand of football. Can that continue if the Achilles or the calf is a problem for him going forward? I don't know. I know there was a rumor today that Jauan was going to sign or was finalizing a deal around $14 million per year. I'm not sure how true that is, but with the injury concerns now, maybe that gets shelved for a period of time. But I will say this, if Jauan is healthy, and I hope he is, if Jauan's healthy, I do believe he will sign a contract around $13.7 million, which, funny enough, aligns with the rumor out there, because it does fit in the Courtland Sutton grouping of receivers, and I think Jauan's in that right now. I think Sutton's better than him, but I do think that in regards to money, Jauan does fit that $13.7 million a year receiver, and I think he'll be one if he's healthy as things progress. Lori Matthews says in the YouTube comments, late day for you today. Sucks that Green got hurt, but hopefully doesn't impact him for opening day. Yes, it is late. I've been working all day long. I cover the MLB for Athlon Sports and now the NFL for here in 957 The Game. So a late day, but a good day. And really any day for football is a good day, but glad you're here, Lori. Daniel says, tell me some good news, man. We'll get to some good news in a second. I'm not going to lie to you. I have no idea how to say her name, so I'm just going to call you HB. He says, subscribe, fellas. Faithful to the Bay. Thank you so much, HB. Appreciate you coming here on the show. Then Rob Thrill on YouTube says, awesome show. Appreciate the comments, and let's get back to my takeaways from day 4, of training camp. And I know HB, or excuse me, I know, Daniel, you asked for some good news. The next news may be the worst of the day and maybe the scariest of the day, because no one's really sure exactly what happened. But Tarron Jackson, defensive lineman, he was going back and forth with Isaac. I think it's a Larson, one of the offensive tackles. They were guarding each other. He was defensive player. All of a sudden, he's on the ground, and everyone's like panicked, like, what just happened? The trainers rush out there, the team huddles around him, and everyone's like, uh-oh. There was a split second in which he was not moving. Again, I have no idea why that was. Maybe it was he was scared to move, or he couldn't move. Again, I have no idea. I don't want to speculate here. But they run over there. Shanahan says that after a period of time, Jackson started talking again and moved his arms and moved his legs. So there was some good signs, but he was put on a stretcher and kind of gurneyed away into an ambulance, and then he was taken to Stanford Hospital for further testing. So really scary. I've never seen that before, and I, football's a dangerous sport, and when you see things like that, your heart just drops and says, oh my God, that's someone's kid, that's someone's father maybe. I have no idea if he has kids or not, but your heart drops. And so I hope Jackson's okay. Shanahan did, again, give good news, saying that he did move his extremities, and there was some, he was talking, so there was some positive reports there, but hopefully further testing brings more good news in the near future. Shanahan also did say he asked the team before restarting practice, do you guys want to continue? Because sometimes, we've seen in previous years, DeMar Hamlin got hurt and paralyzed and almost died and came back, and now is playing again, which is great, but it can be traumatizing for a team to watch one of their guys go down in a serious fashion. So it's good that he seems to be okay, at least from the offset, but also Shanahan taking care of his guys, saying, hey, if you don't want to continue, let me know. But they said, yes, let's continue playing. And they did about 15, 20 or more plays and called it a day. So a scary incident, but hopefully some positive news coming very soon for Tarron Jackson. Hope he's okay, and the best of thoughts going towards him as he recovers. I guess some more positive news for the injury stuff now after a big downer. Ben Barch, the team's starting left guard, he looks like he's inching closer to 100%. Spent a pretty large portion of practice going through a rather intense training with or on the sideline. So I'm not sure exactly when he comes back. Maybe it's tomorrow for padded practices, but Ben Bartch moving well. The agility was there and made it through what seemed to be one of the last tests for him as he works his way back from a quad injury sustained outside of the facility earlier this season. Even better news, linebacker Curtis Robinson and offensive lineman Andre Dillard also did some side work today, which I think is the first time we've seen them all offseason. So really good work there. Dillard, I don't know exactly what he did to get hurt, but Robinson has the ACL injury he's recovering from. Both those guys did some light work and hopefully can come back pretty soon. Dillard is going to be in the mix for the backup right tackle job, whereas Robinson is probably going to begin the year on the PUP list, maybe IR, maybe can come back as the year progresses, but good signs nonetheless. We also got some more Brandon Ayuk sightings again today. He was wearing street clothes, again, not practicing in any form or fashion, but good to see BA out there. I know, again, fans seemingly hate him, but he is showing some leadership. He was talking to the wide receivers again, giving some guys advice, and just overall being I guess you can say, more positive presence than he was last year during training camp, where he was a distraction is kind of how I'll word that, but good to see BA out there for a second time through 4 days of training camp, which is awesome to see. We have some updates in regards to the cornerback room again. No Renardo Green out for 2 to 3 weeks, and we saw a different rotation, which I think is one to be expected now with Green out. Trey Brown and Dallas Flowers are both rotating outside with Green on the shelf. Brown also moved in to play nickel when Flowers worked outside, so you had Lenore, Flowers, and Green as your cornerbacks. You also saw Trey Brown move back outside, so you had Lenore and Brown on the outside, and rookie Upton Stout moved in to play nickel. So a big rotation happening, and I think it's worth mentioning that Dallas Flowers continues to be one of the more impressive veteran, kind of unknown cornerbacks in the room. Obviously, he was with Gus Bradley last year with the Colts. Now he's in San Francisco, and so is Gus Bradley, I might add. But he looks pretty good. There was a play today over the middle where I don't know how he did it. It was a layered throw. It looked like it was going to be over his head, but he got a hand up, got his arm up, knocked it away. And you can tell how the coaching staff reacts. It kind of dictates, how they feel about a certain player, how they get hyped up and whatnot. And the coaching staff, which the players are always hyped when someone makes a great play, but the coaching staff reacting, I think, is a bigger indication. And I tell you what, he made that play again, got his arm up, knocked the ball down, and kind of, punched it out of the air, if you will. And the coaching staff was fired up. So I really think Dallas Flowers, through 4 days, is putting on a pretty good display as to what he can do for the team. And if Green is hurt for a long period of time or things linger past that the kind of 3-ish week window he currently has, I already thought Flowers put himself in a good place to make the team early on, but it's looking like it'll be him, Trey Brown, Darrell Luter Jr., and Siran Neal mixing things up on the outside. The team also signed Eli Apple today, which he's not very good, so it doesn't matter too much to me, but he's a vet, he's a body. He's not making the team as far as I can tell, but I think you're going to see Flowers and Luter Jr. and Trey Brown really kind of tussle for that, number 2, number 3 outside cornerback job. And also, I talked about, Luter Jr. kind of being on the outside looking in. This is a good opportunity for him to kind of jump back into the rotation and I guess you can say prove his worth to Saleh and company on defense. Let's get into Deommodore Lenoir for 1 second because Lenoir, I know the
Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
When you bring his name up, fans are like, we love him, but the arrest kind of has tainted a little bit of him to the fans. It was dumb. It was a dumb mistake, but he addressed it today. He apologized to his teammates, the coaching staff, the fans, the organizations, and kind of saying, look, it was a big mistake of mine. I've grown up for the last 5 years here, and I've learned to not do things like this and be around the wrong people at the wrong time. And it seemed like he was pretty remorseful for what happened, although it really wasn't that big of a deal, which is what you want from your leaders of like, I made a mistake, I'm going to take it on the chin and move on. But in more positive news with him, it's good to see leaders like him step up. Where you lose Charvarius Ward, Lenoir is now the highest paid guy in that secondary room, and he's taken Green and Upton Stout under his wing. Apparently him and Green worked out for a lot of the offseason together, which is great to see, but also Lenoir, who's played inside and outside cornerback for this team, apparently him and Upton Stout have worked together a handful of times too, where Stout came over to his house and Lenoir kind of like walked him through the defense, teaching him the defense. So you'll love to see a veteran player, a leader now, who may be a captain this year, taking younger guys, especially Upton Stout, who may play and may start as early as week 1 this season. You love seeing Lenoir, who has again played nickel, played outside, teaching him and saying, look, I know how to succeed in this defense. Let me help you along the way. So great to see there. And again, you love to see veteran players helping out young guys as rookie seasons progress, because playing in college is hard in itself, but then coming to the NFL is a whole new league and level. Guys are faster, stronger, everything moves faster, so any help those guys can get from veteran guys is a big deal. So good for Lenoir. 1, for apologizing, but also 2, to helping the younger guys in that room, because San Francisco needs Green and Stout if they want to play well and win games this season. Rob Thrill says, you're killing it, Sterling. Rob, you're killing it too, brother. Hope you're doing great. Mike says, what's up, Sterling? What's up, Mike? Hope you're doing great out there, wherever you may be. Kawachipto says here in the YouTube comments, Luter Jr. is such a disappointment, and yes, he has been thus far, but maybe with Green being out, there could be a silver lining to that, with Luter kind of finding his own this season. Kawachipto also adds that Flowers, being Dallas Flowers, was a top corner before he got hurt. I'll just say this. There's a reason he was brought over from the Colts. I don't know if he'll start to begin the year, with Green maybe being hurt, but probably back by then. But he'll certainly be in the mix to be one of the first guys off the bench for this roster. And I wouldn't be shocked if in some way he outplays Trey Brown during training camp and preseason. He can certainly win the outside cornerback 3 job, which would be pretty good for him coming into his first year with San Francisco's defense. And Lori Matthews says in the YouTube chat, all these lower leg injuries are definitely concerning. I think this year has been, it's probably because after 2020 and 2024, where everybody got hurt, we are seeing fans continually say, fire the training staff. I wouldn't go that far. San Francisco's already done that once. I don't know if they want to do it again, but it's definitely concerning, because it feels like we're the only team where it happens this way. And obviously that's not true, but a lot of that's probably due to how bad last year went. But yes, it is concerning. Green, Pearsall, Barch, Cowing, Jennings, it's like, what else could go wrong? Thankfully, though, none of those are really serious right now. But yes, the injury bug has bitten San Francisco already, albeit at a lesser extent than last season. I'd rather get all of them out of the way now. Like, get the calf strains, the hamstring strains out of the way, because we need these guys ready to go for 18 weeks, hopefully a playoff run too. So if you're going to get hurt, do it now, not later. But unfortunately, like life, you get hurt now, sometimes it lingers throughout the season. So hopefully things don't get even serious or more serious as the training camp sessions and preseason progress. I do want to pause for 1 second, though, before I get into my day 4 takeaways of Brock Purdy, what did Pearsall look like, and others, to let you know you can use our promo code 49ersaccess, 49ERSACCESS at SeatGeek.com to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. It's right here on screen. You can go to SeatGeek.com, find your tickets. Again, green is good, red is bad. Find a deal that works for you. When you check out, use that promo code and save yourself $20 off your purchase, whether it's Niner tickets or a concert. It's a free discount. Who doesn't love free? Most things in life are not free. I'm giving you something for free. Utilize it. It helps. It helps me, my wife. It helps my dog. I don't know how, but it does. It's free money and a free discount. So certainly use that and help us out here on the show as well. I also want to say, while the San Francisco 49ers quest for 6, although I do hate that slogan nowadays, their quest for 6 continues, so does ours, for 100 audio podcast reviews leading up to week 1 of the regular season. Give us a review. It can be good, bad, whatever you want to say. Hopefully it's good. Help us out. It helps the show grow, helps the audio podcast get more viewers and grow the community here and reach more faithful just like yourself. So if you can help us out there, we would all love that on the show. But let's jump back into day 4 of training camp. Thankfully, the last day before padded practice. And let's talk about the return of Brock Purdy. He missed Friday's practice for a personal matter. We have no idea why, but thankfully he's back. Hopefully everything's okay. That was the indication they gave us. And he had a pretty admirable day on the field. Went 8 for 11. Some of those would have been sacks, once again proving why training camp stats are pretty useless and rather just pointless. But if you like those things, 8 for 11, shout out Renardo for his box scores. Hopefully he's still doing those things. Purdy, again, I think was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was his best day. I wouldn't say it was his worst day. There was a ball he just completely overshot Equanimeous St. Brown, which you may ask, why is Equanimeous St. Brown getting first-team reps? That's because they don't really have first-team receivers. They all just rotate, but he overshot him. It did kind of look like Trey Brown may have been holding. They don't really throw flags often during training camp for a lot of reasons. Those will usually come once pads are put on, which happens tomorrow, thankfully. But it did seem like Trey Brown may have been gotten away with some tugging on St. Brown's jersey, and Purdy overshot him because of that. But that could also be moot. I have no idea if that was exactly why, or maybe Purdy overshot, maybe Equanimeous St. Brown pulled up. It just seemed like something happened that made the ball go over his head, which looked like Trey Brown maybe getting a little more handsy than you like your defensive backs to do so. That said, Purdy also threw what I believe to be 2 touchdowns on the day during red zone drills, threw one to running back Patrick Taylor, and then found Ricky Pearsall for, funny enough, Pearsall's first catch of training camp was a touchdown pass in which the team started the day with red zone drills. There also was like an awkward botched snap between Purdy and Brendel during the day. I'm not sure if that's a pretty rare thing for Purdy and Brendel to have a botched snap. It doesn't happen during the season often, so it was rare. I'm not sure whose fault it was, but it happened, so it's worth mentioning. But a pretty nice kind of welcome back after a day's missed of practice for Purdy. Again, what else can you say? He looked fine. There's really not much to report there. 2 touchdowns, 8 for 11. No interceptions, I might add. But the bigger story today was clearly the return, the re-debut, if you will, of second-year wide receiver Ricky Pearsall. He was back in practice today after a lengthy training session during the first couple of practices. He's looked healthy on the sideline. He's looked like he's been 100% for a couple of days now and got back out there. He did every single drill during individual drills, the warm-ups, the whatever you want to call them. He did them all. And he was moving well. That's the thing. How does the hamstring hold up? What does he look like? How are his cuts? How are his routes? All those things. Ricky Pearsall looked like Ricky Pearsall. Now, I get we didn't see much of him last year because he got shot to begin the season, but the Pearsall you saw late in the year was what he looked like today. Although he was kind of eased in to team drills, again, did all the drills during individual stuff, but once team drills happened and started, only got about 8 to 10 reps. Which is fine. Again, he was injured, easing back in, need him to begin the season because you have really big 3 games Seahawks, Cardinals, and Rams to begin your year. But easing him back in, and I thought he did pretty well for as little as he performed during team drills. He had a reception on a screen pass in which he looked fine. Then his first catch of the day was actually a touchdown pass from Brock Purdy. Then I think his best play of the day, he was running over the middle of the football field, and Purdy just threw it right to his back shoulder. Pearsall kind of leaned back, caught it, and which would have been a first down. So Pearsall easing back in, but looked good. He looked agile, looked quick. His cuts were good. Just kind of a lower rep count for him as he works his way back from a hamstring injury, which Shanahan called pretty severe. So I'm good to see him back out there. He looked good. He looked quick. He looked strong. Looked like how you want your former first-round pick to look in his first training camp session thus far. And hopefully tomorrow, pads are on. He'll get more reps, and he can look better tomorrow. That said, he also did work with the punt return team. I'm not sure if they want him to do that going forward. I believe he does have some punt return experience in college at Florida, but he was with Junior Burgeon and rookie Jordan Watkins, so I'm good to see him out there. I think it's good when, although San Francisco doesn't have many proven healthy receivers currently, you want to find ways to get your star players, your important players, the ball in any way possible. Although I really wouldn't want Pearsall back there, because if he goes down and Ayuk's still hurt, you don't have any man coverage beaters, and so that's concerning. But I do think that you can find ways to get your important players the ball. Last year with Deebo Samuel, obviously on kick returns and stuff, I think that's a way, but I'd prefer it not be Pearsall, but worth noting he was getting reps at the punt return position today. Mac Jones, again, I know we don't care about the second string quarterbacks, but we have come to know and learn that's a pretty important position on the roster. He was, how do I describe Mac Jones' day? Because there was parts of it where you said, wow. And other parts you said, oh, wow. Like, that wasn't good. But other parts were actually really impressive. He was 6 for 8 on the day, working back with the second team with Brock Purdy back on the practice field. 6 for 8, 2 touchdowns on the day during red zone drills. The first was a pass to Isaac Guerendo, which I don't know what Richie Grant was doing at playing safety, but he just kind of got caught flat-footed. I don't really know. Like, he just kind of was like, oh, there's the play. Oh, touchdown. That was my guy. Crap. Which he seemed pretty peeved about. Like, he was like talking to himself like, dang it, like, what happened? Which is funny in itself, but also like, hey man, what are you doing? What are you, Elliott Ramos on the base path going to third base? You got to pay attention, brother. Like, don't do that during the game. So you can tell the veteran was like, can't let that happen again, but I digress. The second one was actually a really pretty ball to Russell Gage in the back corner of the end zone, which Russell Gage has, again, I've already said plenty of times here, looked really good out the gate. Like, Gage, I think, is on track to make the team if things can progress the way they currently are. He looks really good so far. I think, if, again, Robinson's out and Ayuk's out, he's going to and has put himself in a spot to be in the lead for a, I don't want to say a large role, but, one of Shanahan's top veterans that he keeps around once, or until those guys come back. And I also wouldn't be shocked if Jauan Jennings' calf injury lingers, and again, Robinson and Ayuk are out, Gage may start a game as early as week 1 until those guys come back. But continuing with Mac Jones for a second, Mac Jones, again, a lot of good from Mac Jones. Like, maybe the highest highs, maybe the lowest lows. This next high, though, was just a beautifully thrown ball, right in the money, right in stride to Isaiah Hodgins over the middle on a deep crosser, just bang. It was like, wow, like there's McCorkle. Like McCorkle was uncorking that one. Like, whoa, like that was really good. And it kind of got a ooh from the crowd. So Mac Jones has had a really impressive 4 days, looks good in the offense, but I say all that, and we know Kyle Shanahan, where you can perform really well and you can look really good during training camp. And that can carry you so far with him, but it's like the really small niche things where, like, if you can't get the playoff in the huddle, he will yell and scream at you. And that's what happened today to Mac Jones, where I'm not sure what the problem was. I'm not sure because they use walkie-talkies during training camp to give the quarterbacks the calls. And I don't know if Mac didn't know the play or there was a problem with somebody else in the huddle not knowing where to go and whatnot. But it took them a lot longer than they wanted to get the play out. And because of that, Shanahan walked over, yelled at Mac, yelled at them almost the entire second grouping, and then essentially said and told them very unkindly, get off the field. So, again, some really good plays on the field from Mac Jones. And then catching and really kind of putting yourself in Kyle's doghouse for a second of you're not calling the play right, and then getting essentially moved off the field for the third and first teams to go retake their reps. So, good stuff and not a great look to end his day. So, I would say it's a leaning positive mix, but knowing Kyle, he's can't tolerate that junk. So again, for McCorkle, not the greatest day for him. Strawberry Reacts says here, that's odd because a certain someone said Mac Jones outperformed Brock and it's not close. I know who you're talking about, and that said, I think Mac has looked good. I'm not going to be in the business of saying Mac outperforms Brock because
the McDonald's snack wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch snack wrap. Spicy snack wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
What are we doing? Brock is clearly this team's starting quarterback, and if we're looking to have and create a quarterback controversy, that's their own prerogative, and I don't want to get into that because it's not a thing. No matter how great Mac Jones plays, Brock is starting. It doesn't matter. They paid him $53 million. Now, if this was year 3 into Brock's contract and he wasn't looking good and they'd had a couple down seasons, then we're having a different conversation, but they paid him a month and a half ago, which again, Mac has looked good. I'm not knocking Mac at all. Mac was good today on the field, but we just know Kyle. There are small things he doesn't like, and if you don't do those things correctly, I mean, come on. But again, Mac Jones and his performance has skewed towards the positive overwhelmingly thus far during training camp. And I think Niner fans, although there is some vitriol because of the whole 2021 draft process, I think Mac is going to be a good quarterback too, backup quarterback to Brock. And he really fits what Kyle wants to do. So I that's a good thing to have. Why would you not want that? But moving on to running backs, because Isaac Guerendo, I think, had his best day at training camp thus far. He's looked quick, he's looked fast, he's healthy, which is great. If you haven't seen Guerendo in person, that dude's legs are freaking tree trunks. That man is thick, dummy thick, in the hamstring quad area. Dude, what? I don't know what your leg workout is, but I need to know what you're pumping into those quads and hamstrings. He is gigantic, which is why you see him get injured often, and it's usually his hamstrings and quads. But had a really good day today, and I kind of talked about in my Substack yesterday in my hot take video that Guerendo has a clear-cut role on the offense, but I do think Jordan James will beat him out for the running back 2 job. And if you want to know why, read the Substack or watch the video that came out yesterday. But that said, I do think that Guerendo was a really good pass catcher today. Obviously talked about the aforementioned touchdown pass from Mac Jones, but had a couple of big whip route connections, which was really good to see. I think, again, if you want to use archetypal kind of roles for these guys, McCaffrey's the bell cow, the offensive weapon. Jordan James is the inside zone, kind of lower his head in between tackles, just gets you the kind of the dirty work yards. And Guerendo is kind of the change of pace, one-cut pass catcher back that I think can really help San Francisco's offense be more dynamic this season, which we saw some last year when Guerendo played as the starter down the stretch. But I think had a really good day today. I think if he can really like if Guerendo can kind of tap into his strength as a receiver, like that can be the biggest factor in his growth and how much he plays. Like, again, you have McCaffrey, you have James. Those guys, although McCaffrey can be a good receiver for you and probably should play some more receiver reps this season, those guys are probably going to be like running the football primarily, where Guerendo can be the screen guy, the kind of just tosses that are out wide and maybe on, whip routes and all those things. Like, Guerendo can become a weapon for this team and be utilized more as a wide receiver. Like, my mind thinks of, albeit Guerendo is more dynamic and quicker than this player. Like, I think of some dynasties in the past, like Kevin Falk for the Patriots. Yeah, was a fine running back, but he knew where to be at all times, was relied upon, and was a phenomenal pass catcher. And it changed games for the Patriots in the early 2000s. If Guerendo can tap into that, he will play so much more on third downs. And I think today was a good example of how he can be utilized more, even with Christian McCaffrey and Jordan James on the roster, probably ahead of him walking into the year. So good to see from Guerendo. Also want to mention Corey Kiner, although not really, I guess, like a 2 thumbs up. Wow, great. He did beat Robert Beal, who was covering him, which not sure if you want to do that often, but he beat Beal Jr. deep downfield from a toss or a pass from Tanner Mordecai, which was nice to see again. Corey Kiner, I think, is underrated. The way things are looking, he's probably not going to beat out Patrick Taylor Jr. for the running back forward job, but again, it's early. Pads come on tomorrow, and that could really change some things. I think Corey Kiner has the makings to be the next like big UDFA running back, but time will tell if that can actually happen for the team. Let's see. Offensive line starters. Spencer Burford was back at left tackle because Trent didn't take part in team drills. Besides that, it was the same guys. It was Burford, Zakel, Brendel, Pooney, and Colton McKivitz. I think, that may change once Dillard comes back from injury, but right now Burford has been the primary swing tackle, left tackle behind Trent, which I think will stay and stick throughout the entirety of the next few weeks or so. But a good question. I have it in my notes, but a good question there from HB in the YouTube comments. I want to shout out, though, one player that doesn't get talked about enough, and no one really knows who he is. The Niners signed a UDFA after the draft this year named Jacob Robinson. He can play safety. He can play cornerback. He led the entire FBS in receptions the last couple years, like a really good, in the ball, or he has really good ball skills as a defensive back. And I think the last 2 practices, Friday and today, he has put together his best 2 days thus far, his best 2 games or 2 practice stretch. He had a PBU on Friday, had a PBU today. And this PBU to me was kind of the highlight of the 2 because they were doing red zone drills and they have them kind of like at the 20, 15 yard line. And they had a concept drawn up for Pearsall for a corner route in the back of the end zone. And Robinson, within the entire way, got his hand up, knocked the ball away, and kind of erased a would-be touchdown. So not like a bunch of things to point out, but Robinson, I think, has looked more competent than others have pointed out thus far. I do think that Robinson, I don't know if he has a chance to make the team. Like, he wouldn't be in my top 5 or 6, but if he keeps doing what he's doing and keeps practicing well like he has the last 2 days, that may change. Like, again, it's early, but a good 2-day stretch for UDFA Jacob Robinson from BYU, who he was supposed to get drafted in round 6 and 7. Like, his brother told me that like they were preparing for that. It didn't happen for whatever reason. And so he kind of fell into San Francisco's lap. They were one of the teams talking to him. And thankfully he's there. So you could argue San Francisco has a 6th to 7th round talented player in their UDFA group, which I think could be something. I think he's a player that could stick around for a little bit, maybe on the practice squad, or be kind of the first guy up on the practice squad if someone goes down. But a good two practice stretch for him in his first NFL training camp. Siran Neal also today, a guy who really no one ever talks about too because it's Siran Neal, but he was one of this team's free agent signings this offseason. I'm not sure if that's because of Robert Saleh or the team was like, hey, this special teams is terrible. Siran Neal can be a good guy with that unit. He has been working with the third string defense throughout training camp thus far, but had a pick 6 today, 10 team drills off Tanner Mordecai. So make of that what you will, but again, just highlighting things that we saw today. And 49ers first takes. Aaron, man, you keep doing this, and I may ban you from the show because once again coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Aaron. First off, it's almost 1 a.m. on the East Coast, brother. Go to bed. I have been up past 1 a.m. the last 2 nights. I'm 28 years old. I can't do it. So go to bed, brother. Unless I'm your ASMR kind of sleepy time voice, which I don't know why you do that, but I appreciate you in here on the YouTube chat at 12:44 in the morning where you're at right now. He says, Eli Apple is a camp body. Nothing more, nothing less. You are correct, Aaron. He is a camp body. Moving along here to the kicking competition. Everyone's favorite statistical category is who made kicks and who missed kicks. The way they've handled this has kind of changed multiple times where, like, couple days ago, you had Moody go, then you had Joseph go the next day, then it was both guys go on the same day, and they've continued that on Sunday where Moody and Joseph both made their field goal kicks, but Kyle, funny enough, Kyle and John were watching things like right behind the kickers pretty intently, and Joseph went 4 for 4. He's perfect from 28, 33, 40, and 54 yards. He was perfect, kind of offsetting his 2 for 4 day on Friday. Then Jake Moody went, and Jake was good from 28, good from 33, and good from 40. And then I don't know what Kyle said to him, but Kyle walked up to him, said something, and then Moody shanked the kick. And it was like, oh my God. I just got in his head. I was like, oh, like, just don't talk to him. Like, please. I don't know what he said. Kyle is the ultimate jinx in Super Bowls and and with Jake Moody, man. It was like, come on. Like, dang it, Kyle. Again, I don't know how much you care about who made what kicks and how far, but it's worth mentioning. The games are more important. Preseason's more important, but people care. This is one of the more kind of looked at positional battles on the roster. San Francisco brought in a kicker for a reason. Nick Bosa said he's watching it for a reason. And Kyle clearly, and John Lynch clearly are taking a fascination with the kicker position, being right behind the guys, and Kyle jinxing Jake Moody in the process. Rob D in the YouTube chat says, good, put the pressure on. That's game day. What they really should do is, if you want to like simulate game day, they should like try the free throw method, and like they already blast music, but it's like have the entire team just surround them, like behind them, in front of them, like everything, just surround them and make it as loud and obnoxious. Bring the gold rush out, get the pom-poms in the air, do what you can to simulate, like hire me. I will be in Jake's ear screaming at him the entire time if you need me to. Like, I'll go out there, freaking buck naked, whatever you need to make Jake Moody make them kicks. I'll do it, Kyle. I'll do it, John. Pay me, and I'll do it. Heck, I'll do it for a free Gatorade and a free meal. Give me a Mike Shanahan handshake, and I'll do it for that. Like, come on, man. Come on. But like Rob D points out here, there's no more pressure than Kyle whispering in your ear. I mean, honestly, if you ask probably every single Niners player, what's your worst nightmare? It's Kyle whispering sweet nothings into your ear. I really want to know what Kyle said. It's probably the dumbest thing ever, but like, I'm sure Jimmy Garoppolo woke up every night screaming and sweating because of Kyle Shanahan talking to him in the way he did. Trey Lance too. I'm sure Brock, although he can take it more than those guys can, like, that's like a nightmare scenario of like Kyle, like, you better make this kick, Jake. If you don't get dinner. No one's going to love you or ever see you again. Like, oh my God, that's terrifying. But Rob, you're right. Kyle may be the most intimidating coach, but the nicest guy in a weird way, where I would not want him in my ear, which Lori says, I don't think it was Sweet Nothings. I mean, what's more off-putting though? Like I love basketball and they have the whole psych out thing. Kyle's psych out might just be him whispering Sweet Nothings to people out there with the field goals. But man, I also couldn't imagine, of all people, Kyle Shanahan giving somebody a Sweet Nothing. But man, whatever he did certainly rattled Jake Moody enough where he missed that 54-yard field goal. But to end today's show, I do want to point out something that I think is really important. Because special teams has been just atrocious almost every year since this team has been competitive. It was like okay in 2019. It was really bad in 21, really bad in 22. Although funny enough, saved the year in 2021 with Jordan Willis blocking the punt in Green Bay. This team just has really never been able to find their footing. They've signed players, they've changed coordinators before. It just has never really worked. And it has felt like it's been so like unattached from the rest of the roster of like offense and defense does all the heavy lifting. Special teams is kind of like the ugly cousin where you're like, hey, just go over there. Like no one cares. But that's changed. Like it is front and center. There is a clear effort, a reconcentrated effort to make it matter. And you bring in Robert Saleh, you bring in Brant Boyer as a new coordinator, and things have quickly changed. And I can say this from a firsthand experience. It didn't really feel like the last couple years that anybody in that room, Kyle, John, Brian Schneider, the former coordinator, that like no one really held anybody accountable. It was more of a coddling of the kicker, of the punter, of the long snapper, of the guys on, punt and kick coverage. There really never was yelling and screaming. And I get it. Like some guys are, tough love. Some guys are more soft spoken. So, without being in those meeting rooms, who knows? But outside of the building, it never really felt like there was accountability there. And being inside the building in meetings or in press conferences and whatnot, it just still never felt like there was much, like calling out, if you will, of like, hey, tighten it up, And that's why last year was so kind of like, eye-opening of like Debo's, punching dudes in the throat. Like, whoa, like there's dissension somewhere. Like someone's fed up finally of like, Jesus, dude, like make a field goal. It's not that hard. And this year, you can tell it's different. Brant Boyer comes in, again, talked about his nicotine patch, 40 in the car, all that stuff. Like the mentality he brings is so different than Brian Schneider. But there was a lot of yelling today. One from Kyle at Mac Jones and the second-team offense, but Brant Boyer, where Brian Schneider never yelled. Brian Schneider never spoke loudly. It was praise and praise and praise, and you don't want to tear guys down publicly, but Brant Boyer already has said he was unhappy with Jake and Greg Joseph during kicks. That was kind of the first sign of like, oh, this is different. Today, though, we got a even better example of Brant Boyer changing the game on special teams. And forgive me for not knowing the exact, I guess you can say, wording of what they were doing, but nonetheless, Brant Boyer was upset because the guys on, I think it was punt coverage or kick coverage they were practicing, they weren't adjusting their feet. They weren't changing their stance when making tackles. It was more of like run, 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 tackle. Instead of like run, 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 set your body up, then make the tackle. They weren't stemming is the words they use in the NFL world. That said, they didn't do it right. And the first round did it right, and then as soon as it got to that next layer of players, it was like all wrong.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Brant goes up to them and is yelling at them, not like screaming, but just like yelling, like kind of like Chris Kocurek yells of like, come on, come on, come on, like wanting to get the best out of them, yelling at them, and is like almost preaching like how important the details are on special teams, almost telling them like, you can't afford to be lazy. You can't afford to take the wrong route. You can't afford to have the wrong footwork here. Like, everything matters. Yeah, I get you're a safety, you're a linebacker. You want to play those positions more than this, but this matters too, right? Where in previous years, it'd be like, oh, great job, oh, okay. Brant was like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Like, we have to get this right. I, as a coordinator, not going to take you being lazy, not going to take you doing things wrong. That is a reflection on me as a coach, and he ain't going to deal with it. He went so far where, say, Kyle is hands-on with playing quarterback at times during defensive drills early on during the practices and whatnot. Robert Saleh will kind of get in there at times, and you'll see Chris Kocurek in there with the D-line, during the drills, like kind of showing guys what to do and like what he expects. Boyer is extremely hands-on thus far. He went so far to almost rip the pad out of rookie Marquis Siegel's hands and was like, all right, like, I'm going to make sure every single one of you do this correctly, and if you don't, we're going to do it again. It was like almost a high school retelling of like, we have to get this right. Enough's enough. I was brought in to reshape and retool and rework this room. It starts now. There's no room for fluff and rainbows and butterflies. It's all dark clouds, it's lightning, it's thunder, it's lava. We have to rebuild this puppy. And so he made sure every single subsequent player did the drill right. Then he moved on. And that may seem kind of overblown and whatnot, but it's like, that's what you need. For how many games last year and even in previous years, that unit has hurt San Francisco. To see a coordinator walk in day one, command respect, but two, be like, enough with the BS. Enough. I am a no BS coach. We're going to fix this thing, even if I have to get my hands dirty too. And that is exactly what that unit needs. From Jake Moody to John Weeks to the Thomas Morstead to every single guy in punt and kick coverage, you kind of have to have that kick in the ass. And Brant is, and this is the one thing I think the players are going to respect. He may yell at you, he may scream at you, but he's never going to ask you to do something he wouldn't do. Like, he's getting in there during drills, getting his hands dirty, like Kocurek does, like Kyle does, of like, look, I can tell you how to do it, but I'm also going to show you how to do it. And I'm going to make sure you get it. Like, I remember when I was in college, I had 2 math classes. One professor just would teach and move on, teach and move on. And I'm not the greatest at math. I needed someone to sit with me and not move on until we got it, until I could understand it. And I had one, and it started to click. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Like, now I'm understanding things. Brant seems like he's that kind of guy of like, look, I can get the whiteboard out, and I can yell and scream at you all day. The most important part is you understand what I'm telling you, and you understand how to put that into practice, and then put it into game day. And I love that. Like, that is like, finally they got somebody that can do that here. Like, Hightower couldn't do it. Schneider couldn't do it. It looks like, at least, again, 4 days into training camp, Brant is taking kind of the assertive step and saying, let's go. All gas, no brakes. Like, there's a reason why almost every single team of his with the Jets on special teams was so good. It's coaching like this. It's a reason why guys want to play for people like Saleh and Kyle, but also Brant Boyer too. I just love it. I love it. It's like, finally they got a guy that can lead the group, teach the group, and be hard-nosed, but also just be a really good teacher. Now, we'll have to see if that can kind of play itself out in real time during the games, but it's a very different voice in that room, and it's a different way of teaching, and I just love it. I can't tell you how much it feels to look at that group and say they may finally be in good hands. Now, again, we'll see, but really good stuff, like really good signs coming from like the feel of Brant Boyer just feels right. Feels right. And I love that. You love Kyle, you love John. They can do great things for you, but having Brant Boyer command that room, you may go from 32 to 16 in the year. And if this team has a just somewhat average unit on special teams, that's a big difference. Big difference in winning and losing games and giving your offense and defense better field position. So Brant Boyer, so far through 4 days, gets 2 thumbs up from me. But I think that's a really good place to end today's show. Almost an hour length of a podcast on YouTube, but I think that's a good place. There was so much news, but I cannot wait for Monday. The audio podcast version, if you're listening to it, it's today because pads are on. And once pads come on, everything changes. We get to see Alfred Collins and Mykal Williams and CJ West and Isaiah Neal and these bigger body receivers and these bigger body cornerbacks and these offensive linemen go toe-to-toe for the first time. They get some trench warfare takeaways, some would-be sacks become our sacks or actual sacks, some pressures, and you get to see where someone's body's at. Like, it just makes football feel real again, and that starts tomorrow or on today, or whenever it may be. Monday is the day we're talking about here. And I just can't wait. It's the day everybody looks forward to, and the team does, the coaching staff does, and the fans do, and I certainly do as well. So pads are on Monday, tomorrow, maybe today, who knows. But stay tuned for that show tomorrow. Again, live every day. There is Niners practice, and a video should come out, and a podcast should come out on their off days as well. So stay tuned for those. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the show. HB already did earlier. Join him and join the rest of you out there subscribed here on 49ers Access. You can follow us on social media at 49ers_access is the X or Twitter. 49ers.access is the Instagram. You can use that promo code right here, 49ers Access, 49 ERSACCESS at SeatGeek.com, and save yourself $20 off your first purchase. I want to thank Lori Matthews, Rob D, Strawberry Reacts, 49ers First Takes, HB, Kawachipto, Rob Thrill, Daniel, every single one of you in the YouTube comments. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're ready for pads beginning this week. Stay tuned for that. And as always, my name is Sterling Bennett. And until next time, stay faithful.